Hi, I'm Vickie Hall with Remax Masters Millennium, and I'm here at the Mount Albert Recording Studio at the Remax Masters office in Greenwood Village. And I'm a realtor that specializes in working with seniors on their real estate needs. And in that process, I run across other people that help seniors with their needs. And so I'm here with Kristina Brendlinger, and she's with Googie Down. Isn't that a fun name?
That's right, Googie Down Estate Liquidators and Appraisal Services.
Yes.
Yep, we're owner. My husband and I, Mark and I, own our business. We have for about 9 years, and that's exactly what we do. We partner with folks like you in support of elders who are downsizing, liquidating, moving, whatever it might be. Yes, we provide some liquidation services in support of that.
So, Kristina, we had you in on some of my clients, 93 and 82-year-old couple that had decided it was finally time to downsize. And they wanted to know what things they had that might be valuable and whether it made sense to have an estate sale.
Yep.
And Kristina and Mark were outstanding in their advice. They basically said that they probably would not recommend an estate sale because, of course, the estate sale company gets to take a portion of that for their work and their effort. And they probably did not have things that were valuable enough that would warrant that. However, Kristina gave us all the advice on what things would be most saleable, where to go ahead and post those things to get the most money. And a big thing is the approximate value. I mean, we looked at the freezer in the garage. What is garage sale value for that?
Right. Yeah, definitely. You're absolutely right. And they were just such a wonderful, sweet couple. In fact, they moved into the same community my mother-in-law did. So,
Right.
But yeah, so when we get a call from a client, and we set a consultation on site in their home, like we did with you. Our goal on that initial consultation is really information sharing, right? Most clients who are of older, 80s, 90s, and maybe moved maybe once or twice in their life, yes, they really have no idea of a starting point of what to do. So
It's overwhelming.
it's very overwhelming and it's very emotional, right?
Right.
I mean, yes, there's a lot of money in people's houses, but people attach emotions to their things. They've lived with them, they've purchased them, they inherited them. In some
Yes.
cases they have many generations of stuff.
Grandparents.
And in case sometimes they have their kids' stuff stored in the basement, like I do at my parents' house. But what we do is we come in, and our goal is to collectively with the client and whoever else wants to join us, as you did, walk around the property with the client. And what we're doing is we're doing a visual assessment of the quality, quantity, or both of the items that are going to be deemed for sale. And that at that point, during that assessment, we can make a very, at that point, the very high level kind of cursory review of it, but we can make a proper recommendation to the client, what we think the best liquidation option would be for them. And there are many considerations that go into that. We have obviously the quality of the items for sale, quantity, or maybe both, quality and quantity at the estate for sale. We consider timeline. Some clients are, oh my gosh, my house sold in a day and I got a cash offer and I got to go right away. So we
Right.
consider the timeline. We consider other things such as privacy concerns of the client, right? We also concern community rules, HOA rules, community rules, gated communities. So a combination of all of those things help us kind of formulate and a proper recommendation for the client on liquidation. That may include one of our services, one of our liquidation services, or maybe not. And so in the case of our client or your client, yeah, they didn't have a lot for sale. They were in a community that was a little bit chaotic to do some type of public estate sale, right? To bring the public, they were still living in their home,
Right.
Which meant this is during COVID, right? This was so we definitely couldn't have the public coming and going. They were older. They probably had some, we wanted to protect them from bringing the public in and out. So our recommendation was, we don't think it would be unethical recommendation to hire me and pay me commission to sell things that probably don't have a tremendous amount of value, and that she seemed very capable and very willing to post some of those items on local marketplaces.
She was amazing.
Yes, and she actually was one of the few clients that was excited about doing that, and she did a great job. What we did in turn is during that consultation with you guys, we just made some proper recommendations on where to list them, where not to list them, and what to ask. And that
what to ask was just humongous.
That's right, because you know a lot of this downsizing and liquidation and flipping business you see on TV, and it leaves people with a lot of false sense of expectation of what their stuff is worth, right? But how we look at it is we do evaluation based off, we're in the Denver market, we're in a local market, and as an appraiser and liquidator, we have to track, just like you as a realtor, we have to track the trends and facts of what's selling, what's not, and what they're selling for. And then that kind of helps us make a proper recommendation to the client. So in this case, we made some recommendations on what we call fair market value. It's really agreed upon amount between two people, right? There's no liquidation or quick sale value there. It's, I'm going to list this on Facebook Marketplace, and here's an appropriate price to list it at so you can get it sold.
Right.
And they still made a little bit of money. It sounds like they did very well. They had tools.
He
they had
been
hand tools.
a woodworker, and he had tons of tools. And what we did not know is that evidently tools are hard to get right now, as are appliances.
A lot of that stuff. So this
We had
resale
no
market,
idea.
the resale market, which in turn is the liquidation market, is actually thriving. Furniture can be hard to come by. People are buying used goods right now, even more so than they were before. But they had some other items. They had some small collectibles. They had some Hudson Bay wool blankets that were collectible, which sometimes when we meet with a client, what they think is super hot and collectible really is not.
It may have been
I think that's
20
what
years
happened.
ago.
Yeah. And then I remember when we were going through the property, we were like, hey, don't get rid of this. This is very collectible. And she was like, what? That stuff is? Versus what they think. And that's normal. That comes from, I've lived with these items for 60 years or inherited them. So I just assume that they have a lot of value. But
Like Hummels.
Yeah, no value in Hummels anymore.
And my grandparents and my parents' generation, we just thought that was wonderful.
And in the 70s, there were Hummel clubs, there were Precious Moment clubs, there were clubs for collector plates, books. And so the market was flooded with those types of mass-produced items. And so we're getting to a point now where we are right now, those types of items aren't collectible. The 20-somethings, the 30-somethings that are kind of, fueling that market right now, all their grandparents have Hummels and they don't want them, So yes, that's our job. We go in and we educate. And again, that initial consultation with the client is information sharing. Information's free, information's knowledge, right? And we want them to be well-informed. They can make a good informed decision how they want to proceed. It's not about, oh, hire me, I'm gonna do great things for you. No, it's here's the reality of and if we can provide a service of value, we are so grateful to do that. If not, if they're capable of doing something or they need to go somewhere else, that's what we're going to recommend. Yeah.
That's so valuable. I like to collect people that are there to help others, not necessarily just get a job.
Right. If it's not good for me, I can't help you.
Right.
And I think
they were disappointed. He was disappointed, but that was information he needed to grasp with.
Right. And information he didn't know.
Right.
Right. And so, similar in your business where you sit down with a client and they're like, oh, my neighbor's house over there sold for this and my neighbor's house over there. Well, your house is uniquely different. So you can't, and that's exactly what we do when we look at items. I mean, it's based off quality, quantity of what you have in your home and what's going to be for sale. So, and when we sit down with a client, we have a tremendous amount of empathy for the process. I have personally been through this with my parents who are deceased.
Right.
My husband's family, we've had to liquidate. In fact, I still own my parents' house, and they built it in 1960, and it's still full, and it's very painful for me to go there. And if I had to liquidate, it would be extremely painful. So we know the emotions involved that get attached to that, and I think of course, we all want to be super helpful. I mean, we want to be very helpful, but everybody wants to hear everything, what they own is super valuable. And when they hear, hey, this is really what the market demand is right now. It's not that you don't have nice things. It's just here's where the market is at this current moment. So,
And I'm more likely to recommend you in the future because I knew that you were doing an honest job and looking out for my clients.
We treat every estate just like it was our parents' house, right?
So this is Vickie Hall with Remax Masters Millennium and Kristina Brendlinger with Googie Down. And that ends this segment. We're going to go on and record a couple more about some other subjects. So
Sounds great. Thank you.
Thank you for coming. I appreciate it.
My pleasure.